Melissa from Melissa's Creations here. I'm going live today because it is the start to the mini catalog from Sale-a-bration as well as the celebration flyer. I'm really excited to share these items with you guys. There's a ton of really cool stuff in here. Now I've already placed another order for myself this morning, and I had a pre-order where I purchased the Honeybee bundle, that's the stamp set, as well as the coordinating dies. And I thought that we could put a project together today. It's been a long time since I've gone live on my page here, and I have a lot to update you guys on. So I have a cup of coffee here, and I like my coffee color to be somewhere between Whisper White and Crumb Cake. What is your coffee preference? Are you more of an early espresso or a basic black? Or are you like me and you like the lighter spectrum of coffee? So good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn you guys around. We're going to get started on a project, and we're just going to kind of chit chat and catch up. So as you come on, I'm doing this live on Facebook. You can go ahead and comment and say hi. Let me know where you are, what your name is, where you're from, all that good stuff. And as I have time, I'll go back and read through the comments and say hello to you guys as well. So, I am so excited I get to share these with you guys today. Now, if you haven't already placed an order, the website right now is a little slow. It's probably getting overloaded with all of this celebration amazingness. So just be patient and it will, I'm sure, come back really quickly. So this is the mini catalog. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you guys. If you wanted to see inside this for yourself and you don't have a paper copy, you can visit melissascreations.stampinup.net and you'll be able to view this catalog. And if you go to my website, MKre8tions.com, click on the shop button, you'll see all of the Sale-a-bration goodness over there. That would be so fun, Diana. Oh my gosh. We totally should hang out and chat and craft. I would have such a blast. I'm going to be doing some more classes soon too, so stay tuned. Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. I purchased the Peaceful Poppy Suite, the Suite Bundle this morning. That was one of the first things that I wanted to get, and I just love all of these things, and I can't wait to make some goodies out of this for you guys. But today we are focusing on those beautiful little bees from the Honeybee bundle. So right here on page 30 of the mini catalog, we've got the beautiful Honeybee Stamp Set with the coordinating detailed bead dies. And when you bundle products, you do save that 10%. So make sure you're looking for these bundles, and you can get both of these for less than if you purchase them individually. So I just love all these projects. They're so super cute. But I did pre-order the Golden Honey Specialty Designer Series paper, and that is what I want to use with you guys today. So I've already made this card here. I did have to tweak it a little bit because when I made this card, I did not have the Daffodil Delight ruched ribbon. I just ordered probably 3 spools of it because it's amazing. So I will have that soon, but we're going to substitute for a different Sale-a-bration item today. And I'm actually going to be using the Metallic Baker's Twine and Sequins Combo Pack. This is awesome. You can use shaker cards with the sequins. You can do a lot of stuff with this Baker's Twine here. I don't know if you've noticed yet, but in the Sale-a-bration catalog, you can see that they've actually kind of braided this here, and it kind of looks like a mermaid tail to me a little bit. I think that's super fun. You can also make tassels and all kinds of just like simple bows and whatnot. So I'm using that today in place of the ruched ribbon. Now on the Sale-a-bration flyer here, you can see that right here you have a whole list of everything you need to create these 3 beautiful projects right here. And it makes it so easy because you know exactly what you're going to need to grab out of your stamp stash or order, and you can make lots of beautiful cards. So here is one of the cards that I made where I substituted that metallic thread here instead of the ruched ribbon. So this is the card that I cased, and I changed the sentiment. Instead of hello, I used thank you. But can you see this beautiful gold bumblebee under there? Oh, isn't he beautiful? This is actually a piece of designer series paper, which I'll show you in a minute. And I cut him out using the coordinating detailed bees dies. And they perfectly cut out the large bee as well as the small bee. I am so excited about this card, but today we're going to focus on this card right here. Now I am going to modify it slightly. I'm going to make it a standard size card instead of this square. So I'm going to play with my measurements a little bit, and we're going to kind of tweak that to be a standard size 5.25 by 4.25 card. So we're going to go with that. So let me get my things together, and I want to know what's on your list. Have you guys been able to go through these catalogs yet? Have you found something that you are enjoying? Let me know what your favorite new products are. I would love to hear what you think about all of the wonderful items in this catalog. I'm just grabbing out the materials that I need on that page 10. So we've got Daffodil Delight, Coastal Cabana in the classic Stampin' pads. I'm going to need my Honeybee bundle right here. I also need some Whisper white cardstock. Check. I need the designer series paper, which I have over here. And I have fussy cut a little bit of it and cut out a few other pieces. And I'm not wasting a single piece because this paper is gorgeous. So I've got that. We also need the metallic Baker's Twine and Sequins combo pack. So I've got that. Again, I'm substituting this for that yellow, the Daffodil Delight ruched ribbon, since I don't have that. I'm also in need of my blender pen. And we need some adhesives, of course. So I have my Stampin' Dimensionals. They also recommend the multi-purpose liquid glue, so I have that. And I think that is, oh, one more item, the Stays On in jet black. Perfect. All right. Diana, the bee set is so cute. Absolutely it is. Intricate, yes. Went to my first onstage in November, got a lot out of the catalog shortly after. Yes! Oh my gosh, I so wish I could have gone to onstage this year, or last year I guess now. However, I was a little pregnant and a little with child. I had my son on the 19th of October, so unfortunately I couldn't go to onstage, but fortunately I gave birth to my son and he's just been amazing. So it was a win-win for me, but hopefully next year, this year, maybe next year, I'll be able to attend one. Okay, let me kind of shift around this stuff, move a few things out of the way. All right, so I'm going to start with just getting a couple pieces of Whisper white cardstock out. Now I have a standard card base here, as well as a couple of scrap pieces so that I can stamp the hive. Looks like we need a little bee. I need this floral piece here and then this sentiment. So I'm going to do my stamping first because we're going to have to cut those out. So I'm going to set my card base aside for a moment and I'm going to get my stamps. So we're doing the hive, and they've stamped the hive in the Daffodil Delight. So let's just get that going right now. Oh yes, I would love to go to Salt Lake City where the home office is. That would be amazing. Coffee, absolutely. Oh, I love coffee. And I definitely need it these days, for sure. My husband and I do work full time. I'm still on maternity leave right now. I go back to work Monday. Oh boy. And my husband and I wake up at 5, so we have enough time to get ourselves ready as well as get my son ready to get out the door so that we can drop him off. My mother takes care of him. I don't know what I would do without her. She is a savior. And So we have to drop him off over at her house before we head into work. And we've normally go into work at 7, or at 6, but we're kind of switching it up and going in at 7 now because things can get a little crazy in the mornings around here. But luckily, I have time to drink some coffee, so that is perfect. All right, I'm getting out that little bee, and I'm also going to get the flower. Now, these two flowers go different directions, so they can kind of coordinate like this. I love it. So I'm getting the right tilted or the left bracket flower, I guess is how I could say that. I'm going to mount him up on one of my clear blocks, and he is actually, you know what? Do they cut that out? They might. Oh, no, that's not stamped. That's cut out of the paper. I bet you that is cut out of the paper. Let's try that first before we actually stamp. So I'm going to take that off and get my sentiment out instead. And the sentiment we're using today is thinking of you, sweet friend, which I love the sentiments in this set. They are so cute. You've got your hello, thank you, celebrate every moment, wishing you sunshine and happiness, and the one we're going to use, thinking of you, sweet friend. I love all those sentiments. Okay, so this is cut out kind of like a little banner, so I'm going to stamp that down here so that I can cut it out and try and be as straight as possible. Yes, it's a huge comfort that my mom watches my son for me. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have her available to do that for me. I would definitely be a nervous wreck, that's for sure. All right, and the bee. We could also cut the bee out of some designer series paper, but I think I want to stamp him and color him and then cut him out myself with the coordinating dies. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with StazOn. And the reason I'm using StazOn is, number one, it is recommended on that project list. But number two, you can use StazOn with water. And because I have a blender pen to color in, I'm using my water-based Stampin' pads and my blender to color the Stampin'. So that's why I'm using StazOn. If you wanted to use your alcohol-based Stampin' Blends markers, then you would definitely want to use Memento to do this so your inks don't bleed. All right, so we're just gonna stamp that little guy because we're gonna cut him out as well. I'm just gonna let him dry for just a second so that I can color him in. And let's see. I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight to color in his little body, and then it does look like they used a tiny bit of Coastal Cabana to kind of shade in his wings a little bit. So I am just pooling up the ink in the top of my pad, so you just squeeze it a couple times and you can get a nice little pool up there. And then I'm going to use my Stampin' or my blender pen. So it has two different tips. I'm using one tip for the yellow and one tip for the teal. So I'm just gonna pick up some color and then we're just going to swipe it across and color them in. Look at that, gorgeous. Okay, so there's the yellow. And with this color, I just want it to be a hint. I just want it very light. So I'm just gonna do a tiny bit right up close to his body there, where the wings are the lightest. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but this stamp is kind of gradiated. You can see that the wings, the way that it's stamped, the wings are actually darker at the end and they get lighter up closer to his body. I love that style that Stampin' Up! Has been able to achieve by just simply making the stamp that way. It looks so beautiful. All right, so let's get these out of the way. I've got those. Now the next thing I want to do is go through my paper here and find that flower that they used and they cut out. So here are those gold bees. Aren't those just so beautiful? So again, those dies will cut this bee out as well as that bee. They fit perfect. I love it. Just like this. Boom, cut them out. Yep. Okay, so that flower they used is actually on this piece of designer paper. Okay, so I'm going to cut one of those out. Now, because I don't want to waste any of this gorgeous paper. I'm going to try to fussy cut around a little bit first. That way I don't cut into anything else that I could cut out later. So I'm gonna go for, maybe I'll go for that one actually, since it's closest to the edge right there. So let's do a little fussy cut. I'm just gonna cut this out and leave a little border around it so I can line up my die. There. Okay, that's what I'm gonna use for that. Now I also need 2 different papers for the backgrounds. So I need this gorgeous, I have a smaller piece of this honeycomb, this one. So I'm gonna grab this, and we use the black and white, which is on the other side of this here. And because I'm doing a slightly different modified version, I'm going to need to cut my own sizes. So I'm trying to think here what size I want to cut. So I think first, before I cut the designer paper, I'm going to cut out my pieces. So let me grab my Big Shot and bring that in so we can get that going. I know, I love the samples in the catalog. They have done such a beautiful job getting everything ready for this catalog and inspiring us and showing us all of the different ideas. I mean, the ideas and possibilities are endless. So many demonstrators come up with beautiful samples as well, and I absolutely love casing them. I hope they don't mind, because I case a lot. I love casing other demonstrators. I did make a shaker card cased from a demonstrator, Sandra Budd. She's a German demonstrator, and I believe I have made that video. It's already out on my YouTube channel. You should be able to see it. I'll show you the card here in just a second. It's gorgeous. She did such a beautiful job designing that shaker card using this bundle of products here. All right. Yes, look at that. I love it. I love it when we can cut out paper using these dies. It's awesome. Okay. So put that there. I don't want to lose it. Move the bee, move the hive. And just kind of get those over there. And then I'll cut out my banner for my sentiment in a moment. I've got my little bee pieces. So first things first, I have my card base, and I'm going to score it so that I can fold it in half. And first of all, I just want to make sure it is the right size. So 5.5. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. And I'm not using the cutting blade. Get that out of the way. I'm using my scoring blade. Alrighty. There's our card base. Now let's start building this. Oh, thanks, Diana. Yeah, here's the shaker card. Isn't that pretty? I love it, and I use those sequins, the sale-a-bration item from the metallic Baker's Twine and Sequins combo pack, and they work beautifully, and I just love that card. It's so adorable, and it's already cut down to 4 inches because I was using it on my other card that I did here. So the sample in the catalog does not show a border around, but that's okay. I'm going to use my creative license and kind of mix it up a little bit. So I'm actually going to cut this so it's just 1/4 inch smaller than the card base. So if it's already at 4, I'm going to trim it down to 5 1/4. Okay. So there's our first layer. And I love the gold foil. Oh, it's so pretty. Yes, it's gorgeous. Okay. And then we'll bring this piece in. Now, they have their square card, and they have this piece just big enough for this to fit on. So it's just kind of like a small corner. And I think I'm going to do the same. I think I'm going to keep this smaller piece square because I really don't want to use any more of this than I have to if I'm not using that side. Do you know what I mean? I mean, this is a beautiful pattern, but I don't want to waste those beautiful gold bees. Oh, is that wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. Okay, I'm just going to do a small square out of this. And I'm gonna kind of gauge it by how big this is. So we've got about 2.5 by about 2 1/4. So give or take. I'm gonna cut my piece 3 by 3. That'll still give me enough around it to see a good pattern. So we'll slip this in. This is going to be painful for me to cut because I know I'm cutting through some bees. And this is sale-a-bration paper. I have more on the way. It's okay. I'm gonna do it. Are you guys ready? I'm hesitating because I don't want to cut it. Okay, boom. It's done. It's just paper. If I don't use it, it's just gonna sit and sit. Of course, probably not because this paper is gorgeous and I just want to use it all up. All right. That's what it's for. It's for cutting. It's paper. It's to be used. That's the whole point. All right, well, I still have my trimmer out. Actually, let me grab a different trimmer. Let me show you guys this wonderful mini paper cutter that Stampin' Up! Has come out with. This is available if you sign up as a demonstrator during sale-a-bration. I do believe it's while supplies last, so if you're not a demonstrator and you've been thinking about it, if you want to be a hobby demo or a business demo, you can sign up and get this adorable mini paper trimmer in your starter kit, as well as a small paper sampler from the mini catalog and sale-a-bration flyer. Okay, so I think I might want to trim it down a little bit more. I might use my scissors though. Well, let's see. Let's get this in here and see how close we can get it. Okay, got that side. And again, this is a guillotine style trimmer, so just be very careful when you are getting this into your trimmer to cut your pieces out. Let's see. That might be a little too close. I want to go one tick over and try and get it as even as possible. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to chop the end off first before I snip. And so that's about 2 1/4. Yeah, let's do about 2 1/4. I think that'll be a good banner. Okay, so to cut my banner, I'm going to snip up the middle and then go from corner to the top of the snip on both sides. I have to concentrate hard when I do that so I don't mess up. There we go, perfect little banner. Okay, so now let me get all these little scraps out of the way, get my paper cutter out of the way. I know, I used to hoard paper like nobody's business, and I was so sad because when it retired, I couldn't really show it off anymore, and I never really used it after that, so I'm trying really hard. If I did resolutions at all, one of my crafty resolutions would be to use all of my designer series paper. I don't want any of it left over. Okay, so I'm going to start assembling, and I'm going to use my snail. Now, I could use the liquid adhesive, which is on the project list in the sale-a-bration flyer on page 10, but I'm just going to use my snail since I have it out and have it handy. The good thing, though, about using that liquid adhesive is that you have a little bit of wiggle room when you go to place your paper down on your card. You can kind of still adjust it a tiny bit after you get it down. But, again, I'm just going to use my snail. Okay, so there's that. Now, before I glue this piece down, I'm going to build on it. So, I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals to pop up the hive. And I'm running low, so I'm just going to use the edges. That's what I love about these. You can use every single bit. No waste. All right. So flip him over. Oops. Get that one. And then all these little corner and edge pieces. Okay. I think 3 is good on there. New Year's use new paper. Absolutely. I love it. Okay. And then we'll just put him in the middle here. Oh, so cute. And it's symmetrical too. I didn't do it on purpose, and I'm not sure if it was meant to be, but there's 1 there, there, and 2 down there. Like, it's perfectly symmetrical around that hive. I like that. It's very pleasing to my eyes. All right, and so then I have this beautiful little embellishment here that we cut out of the paper. Now, this is not on the list of materials either, but I'm going to substitute regular dimensionals for the mini dimensionals. You could definitely use the regular ones and just cut the pieces in half or cut them smaller, but since I have these out, I'm just going to use them. So I'm using my mini dimensionals on the back of the flower, and we'll do 3 on here. Okay, peel those backings off. And he's gonna go about right, yeah. And then we've got our little bee, so I can use a regular size on him. And let's use this corner piece. There we go. And he's gonna be floating around up here. And our banner. Now, before I put my banner down, I want to use my where did I put my sequins? Ah, here they are. Right in front of my face, underneath my dimensionals. All right, so we're gonna use this beautiful metallic baker's twine. And I think I'm just going to, now if you look closely in the sample, you can see that they've just used a teeny tiny bit on the end of their banner right there. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to wrap it around and tie a little bow on that side. So I'm just going to leave a tail, wrap it around a couple times, and then leave another tail, trim it off, and then wrap those pieces around. Let's see if I can do a nice little bow. We might end up with a knot. I don't know if I left myself enough tail. There, okay. I think we can make that work. Now we'll just tug those tails, tug them down a little bit so it's just a little bow, and snug it up. Okay, I think that will work. That'll be all right. I can fluff it up a little bit later. Okay, so now I'm gonna cinch it down closer to the end, kind of spread out those wraps that I did. There. See? Perfect. All right, now I'm going to use, again, some dimensionals on the back of that. And we're going to pop that up. And it kind of goes off around this direction, like so. All right, this is coming together, you guys. What do you think? I am liking it. Now, I can put it in the middle, or I can put it off to a side. Ooh, I think off-centered is better. What do you guys think? Let me know. Do you like it left or do you like it middle? I'm not a fan of right because there's too much going on over here. So I think I like the left side. So let me know in the comments before I glue it down. I'm going to get my dimensionals ready. First comment I see, Diana, yes, off-centered. Absolutely. I am right there too. All right, we're doing off-centered. Goodbye, bees. You have been fabulous. I love you. You guys are rock stars, but it is time for you to hibernate and let the black and white on your reverse shine. So thank you for your service and have a wonderful slumber on the back of this gorgeous card. That's what you gotta do, you guys. You gotta just say goodbye. Don't think about it anymore. Just do it. All right, and off-centered, here we go. I'm just trying to make sure I have an equal amount of space on the top, bottom, and left side, and boom! Oh, I love it. Absolutely, it's so gorgeous. What do you guys think? I think it's pretty darn good and very close to the card in the Celebration flyer. What do you think? So that's the original card here. Of course, the major difference, this is square and it has that beautiful ruched ribbon, which is on its way, but I just don't have it quite yet. So I went ahead and adapted it so that I can make a standard size card. I love the standard cards. They're just, they're delicious. I love them. All right, there it is. Let me turn you guys around. We'll chit chat, say goodbye. Don't forget to get shopping. Now, again, the website might be a little overloaded since today is the first day of Sale-a-bration, as well as the launch of the mini catalog. So be patient. Get it? So funny. Thanks, Monica. I'm so glad you enjoyed the card. Yay! What do you think of that card? I absolutely love it. So beautiful. Let me see. Let me try. I haven't gone live in a long time, so it's a little difficult. There we go. Now I'm flipped around to remember all the buttons. Thank you, Diana. I've had this hat forever. When I was in high school, and that was a long time ago, I took a trip down to Ashland to the Shakespeare Festival, and I got this hat along with a matching scarf, and I've worn it a lot, but it's pretty old. I'm not gonna lie. But thank you very much. I really love this hat. I need to learn how to make it. I know how to knit, but I need to find the right yarn to duplicate it. So there we go. There is our gorgeous card. I hope you guys enjoyed that card today. Again, Sale-a-bration, mini catalog. So many amazing things right now. If you guys haven't shopped yet, make sure that you put it on your to-do list for today. Again, be patient because that website may be a little bit slow with everybody trying to get their hands on the amazing Sale-a-bration products and mini catalog items. I used the Honeybee bundle today, and if you purchase that, add on that beautiful Daffodil Delight ruched ribbon, you'll meet that $50 and you'll be able to qualify for a free Sale-a-bration item, which will get you that paper that we used today, that designer series paper. They do use it on all three of these samples up here. And again, here's the supply list. If you follow that, you'll have everything that you need to create these beautiful cards, along with the card that we made today, that we kind of tweaked from casing the catalog. Okay, you guys, I am just gonna go on and do a little bit of chit chat now. So if you want to stay and chat with me, I would love that. And if you are done and you're happy that you got to see a card and you want to move on with your day, that's totally okay as well. Great card. Thank you, Diana. Yes. Okay, so I'm just gonna catch you guys up on a couple of things that have been happening with me lately. Now, number one, the biggest thing that's happened is I just had my baby on October 19th. Now, I wasn't supposed to be due until November 9th. That was my actual due date. And I had to deliver early at 37 weeks because I had something called cholestasis, which was a condition that affected my liver. My body was creating too much. This might be TMI for some of you, so if it is, I apologize. And if you don't want to hear about medical things, you might want to click away. But, so that's your warning. So if you're not a fan of, hearing medical stories or hospital stories, you might want to click away. But I am going to share a little bit about my, my son's story. So I had something called cholestasis, which my body produced too much bile acid, and it couldn't process everything. So if the baby were to go to 39 weeks full term or longer, there was a risk for stillbirth or other complications. So my doctor recommended that I give birth at 37 weeks. So I was induced at 37 weeks. I had my son on October 19th, And when he was born, he actually had a respiratory distress syndrome, RDS is what they call it, and that caused him to have a collapsed left lung. So unfortunately, he was in the NICU for 2 weeks after I gave birth. We gave birth here in my hometown, a small town in Oregon, just outside of Portland. I had to be discharged from the hospital early. We went up to OHSU where he was transported, and he was there for 2 weeks. So the first day, we didn't know what we were doing. We were completely just lost and out of it, and it was just completely surreal. I was in a daze. I don't even really remember those first couple of days. Really, the only thing I remember is seeing him in the NICU, having everything attached to him. It was scary. It was not a good experience, but luckily I came out with a happy ending. But the first night, we ended up staying the night in a special room attached to the NICU. So in the NICU, they have what they call pods, where there's one kind of bay where there's 4 babies, about 4 babies. There's, 2 on each side of the room. There's 2 nurses, 1 nurse for every 2 babies. And when we first got there, there's nowhere for parents to sleep. You can go, you can stay the whole day, you can be in a chair, you can stay at night next to your baby, but you cannot actually sleep next to your baby. And my husband and I didn't really have anywhere to go, so we were trying to scramble around figuring out where we're gonna stay, how much money this is gonna cost, which that doesn't really become a factor in that kind of a situation, but then again it does, because you still have to be able to afford things. So that night we stayed in a room attached to the NICU. It was called the lactation room, where a mother can go and express her breast milk if she needs to, if she's not able to feed her baby. So we stayed in one of those rooms. It was a very hard pull-out couch, but at least it was something, and at least we were close. The next day, we were able to get in with the Ronald McDonald House. Now, I hadn't known much about Ronald McDonald House before this experience. I do know that Stampin' Up! Has partnered with them in the past to do a stamp set. If you purchased a stamp set, a portion of the proceeds went to that charity. And that's all I had really ever heard about it. And then through the NICU experience and with everybody that came to talk to us, everybody was so nice and so amazing and so helpful. We were able to get into the Ronald McDonald House, which allowed us to stay right next to the hospital so that our baby was close to us. We could go and see him all the time. We didn't have to drive back and forth. That would have been a lot of gas and stress and anxiety and travel that we just couldn't handle at the time. So we ended up staying right down. If you're familiar at all with OHSU or Oregon, the hospital is up on a hill, way up high on a hill, and we have an aerial tram that connects the hospital down to the waterfront where the river runs through. And then down at the waterfront, there's a whole bunch of shops and hotels, and you can get to downtown Portland from there. And that's where the Ronald McDonald House was that we stayed. There's several locations, but we stayed down there at the waterfront. And it was so convenient. We were able to ride the tram up and down to get to our baby and see him every day. So that experience lasted for 2 weeks. He was in the NICU. The first week was just getting his lung better. He had a pneumothorax, which means there was a tiny little hole in his lung which didn't allow it to function. So we had to have a chest tube in so that it would suck the air out of his chest cavity, and he was able to, his lung repaired itself. So that took the first week of the NICU. The first week of his life in the NICU was repairing the pneumothorax on his lung. Or, I'm not a medical person, so that's as best as I can describe it. After that, the chest tube, he actually took the first chest tube out himself. He was like, I'm done. I don't want this anymore. Get it out. Let's go home, Mom. Come on. So he actually kind of pulled it out himself. That was the first, I think that was the first one. They put in a second one just to make sure everything, you know, was still good. That came out after a week. And then the next week was spent learning how to feed, making sure that he was getting enough. That took a week. For he wasn't premature. 37 weeks is still considered term from what my doctors have told me and what I've read and everything. So he was not premature, but a 37-week-old baby, he did have a little bit of trouble figuring it out. And finally, he did have a, I can't remember what they call it. It was a feeding tube, one in the nose, and then eventually he had one in the mouth. And so he had that for a little while, and that's how he was getting his food. And then once that transition period came where we needed to kind of, you know, figure out how to get him out of there, we started bottle feeding him some breast milk, and he was able to get that kind of down. It took him a little bit, but finally towards the end of that second week, he was taking full bottles on his own, and he was finally able to be released. So long story short, you guys, that's where I've been for the past couple of months. I have been taking care of my baby, and I've been on maternity leave, and it's been amazing. I mean, you don't realize how hard it is to not, maybe some of you do. This isn't specific to me. There are a lot of people that have gone through this, but it was so hard for me to not be able to take my baby home when I left that hospital after I gave birth. It was just, my mind was blown. I just couldn't even fathom what was happening. But to be able to take him home on that second week, I was just over the moon. I was so excited. I'm gonna get emotional, so I apologize for that too. Again, if you're just now joining me, I made a card. Hang on for the replay. You'll be able to see it, but I'm just kind of chit-chatting and filling you guys in on what's been going on with me the last couple of months. So anyway, we got to take him home. We had some, you know, some struggles adjusting and trying to get everything in the flow, trying to figure out what's going on. It was our first baby, so it was definitely a challenge trying to figure everything out, but I think we're finally there. We finally have a good rhythm going. My maternity leave is coming to an end, so I am going to be going back to work full time. My mother's going to be watching our son, and that's why I haven't been doing a lot of cards, but I have been trying to get more videos on my YouTube channel. I've been trying to post more things for you guys here. I have lots of inspiration over on my Instagram, and if you haven't followed me yet, you can go to instagram.com/MKre8tions or just search for me, MKre8tions, and I'll pop up there. So I'm trying really hard to commit to getting at least one video out a week for you guys, and it's not going to be that hard to find inspiration because this new mini catalog and sale-a-bration flyer are amazing. However, it might be a little hard finding time because with a newborn, if it's been an experience and it's hard to find a lot of me time, which is totally fine. I'm just getting as many of those baby snuggles as I can while he's still little and still wants to give them. Hopefully that will continue, but we'll just have to see how it goes. Yes, Diana, it was so stressful. Yes, thank you. Yes, he is healthy now. His pneumothorax is completely gone. He did have a slight heart murmur as well, but that's gone also. We will take what we can get. Yes, baby comes first. Absolutely. Thank you so much for understanding, you and everybody out there. I hope that you guys continue to find crafty inspiration, whether it's with me or with other people or just the whole crafting community. There's so many ideas out there, and I'm really excited to kind of take bits and pieces of other people's ideas and kind of get that inspiration to make some more projects for you guys. I am going to make the third card. Well, actually, it's not a card. It kind of is. It's more like a slider card. It can hold a gift card. It looks like they might have a gift card tucked in here. So I am going to be making that project. I've already made that project. That video should be coming out in a week or two, I believe. I'm trying to post every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time on my YouTube channel. So be sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on those videos. I'll also post them here on my Facebook page so you can catch up that way as well. All right, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna finish my coffee. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and chatting and hearing my story, my baby's story. I'm having so much fun being a new mama, and I can't wait to spend the rest of today while my mom is watching my son on my last day of maternity leave. I'm trying to use it well, so I'm going to get crafting on some more stuff for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this project. Again, if you're catching the replay, just, or if you're catching the end of the live, go back and watch the replay. You'll be able to see the card that we made today. Thank you guys so much. Love you. Thanks, Diana. We'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful day and welcome to 2020. Can we just let that sink in for a second? 2020? That's amazing. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Bye, guys.